Hi guys, it's Shamsa and welcome back to my channel. Now, as a teenager, the first things along with roti and desi chai that I learned to make were Filo Pastry Samosas. These were made in abundance and stored away in the freezer to serve up to guests when they arrived with the tea. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I make mine, so let me run through all the ingredients and then we'll start cooking. So the ingredients you're going to need is half a kg of lamb mince, which is 500 grams. I'm using spring roll pastry here. These come as sheets. They will need cutting into strips to make the samosa. Now, if you prefer to use the pre-cut version of the strips, then that's entirely up to you, but I actually prefer these. And I've got here 1 cup of frozen peas, which I've left to defrost, which equates to 250 grams. I've got 1 large onion, which I finely diced, and I also have 2 tablespoons of plain flour to make the paste to seal the samosa. And I have 2 teaspoons of the following spices: salt, chilli powder, coriander powder, garam masala and cumin seeds. I've got half a teaspoon of turmeric powder here, and I've got 1 heaped tablespoon of dried fenugreek leaves. I've got the same of ginger, which I've grated. This is fresh. And I've also got a tablespoon of green chilies, which I blitzed. And you also need fresh coriander to garnish at the end, and obviously water for when we come to make our paste to seal the samosa. So let's start cooking. Okay, we're going to start by getting our karai or pot, whatever you're using, nice and hot, and into that we're going to throw in our meat, and we're going to allow it to sort of like release some of its moisture, and we're going to cook it along with the ginger and the chilies for about 6 to 8 minutes, and we're going to make sure we're going to break down any clumps that the meat forms. And after about 8 minutes I'll show you how it looks. So in with the green chilies and the fresh ginger. Right, okay, so we're halfway through the 8-minute cook, and you can see that the mince has started to release its own moisture and water. And I'm just going to throw in all of the dry spices and just give that a mix. And we're just going to continue to cook this. So I'll see you guys back in about 4 minutes time, and that should be the end of the 8-minute cook for the mince. I'm just going to turn my hob settings to a high and just allow all of that water to dry up. So after 8 minutes you can see that there is no water left in there, there's no moisture whatsoever, it's nice and dry. And I'm going to throw in the peas, and we're going to cook these for about 2 to 3 minutes. Don't want them any longer than that because I just want them to remain really nice and green in colour. And because they're defrosted, they won't take long cooking. So I've got my hob settings on a low setting. Right, okay, 4 minutes later and we are ready to add the onions into this. And we're just going to give the onions about a minute or 2. We want a nice crunch to them. Right, so after 2 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the hob off, and we're just going to finish this off. So we're going to take the dried fenugreek leaves and just place them between the palms of our hands, and we're just going to crush them so it releases more flavour, more aroma. And then just add that in, and also the fresh coriander that I've chopped up, I'm going to add that in as well, and just give everything a mix. My god, that smells so good, and I've not even actually filled the samosa yet. But it's all about the mixture, remember. And there we are. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set that aside and let that cool down completely, and then I'll tell you how to form your samosa. Right guys, whilst the keema mixture is actually cooling, I have taken my filo pastry out of the freezer, and I'm just going to set it aside and just let it defrost and come to room temperature, and then I'll show you guys how to cut this to form your samosas. Right guys, to actually cut your samosa strips, I've taken my pastry out of the packet and it's not fully defrosted, and it's important that it isn't, because what's going to happen is if it fully defrosts, you're not going to be able to cut it into straight strips and it's going to become hard. So when it's halfway there and you know it's still got that flexibility, it's defrosting nicely, what I normally do is I just measure out roughly, this is just a rough sort of like measurement, 3 sort of like strips. First of all, I just mark them with a knife like that, try to get them as same as possible, and then once I've done that, once I know they're the right size and I'm happy, then I go in and I sort of like press down and make sure I sort of like start cutting into the pastry. So do the same thing for all, and then I lift it up like that. And what I'm going to do is, once I've lifted it up, I'm going to hold it just to show you guys on camera so you can see, and I just gently, where I've created the sort of like cut there, the marking, I slice all the way down like that, and I hold on to the tops of the pastries here, the strips, and I guide the knife down like this, and it should sort of like very easily form strips that will create our samosas. Just do the same again, so just create very carefully an incision in that pastry and then just glide the knife straight through, and that will give you sort of like roughly 3 samosa strips, more or less the same size as the other. Let's put them this way, and there you have the samosa strips. And then what you want to do is you want to sort of like take out one sheet that you're working with, pop these back into the bag or pop them in a wet tea towel, and just take off your samosa pastry like this, and obviously work with them one by one, and always have the wet tea towel on them, sort of like wrapped in the wet tea towel, because you don't want the pastry to dry out. So now to form the samosas. Right, to make your filo pastry samosas, I've got my defrosted pastry here, and I'm going to take off 2 sheets. Now, the reason why I do 2 sheets of filo pastry for the samosas is because it's really nice and crunchy, and it's more like the commercial stuff that you buy in the shops. So pop that back into a damp tea towel, and you've got your pastry here. And what you need to do is lay it flat first of all, and take the right corner and just fold that over to form a triangle, and then just press down a little, and just press down in this corner as well, because you want this corner to seal slightly when you're filling it. Then take this and just carry on making a triangle pocket, and just push down here as well. And once you've done that, just carefully lift it up, and then with your thumb just place that here in the middle, so you're holding sort of like both sheets here, the back bit and the front, and you'll have a little triangle pocket to fill your samosa. And then we're going to take the filling, and what my mum normally used to do was she would add a couple of peas just right at the bottom there, just so it helped that little corner fill up, and then just go in with approximately 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of the filling. Just see how much you can fit in there. You want it nice and filled, and then just push down ever so slightly. Just make sure it's really nice and compact. Just move that out of the way. And then you want to sort of like push that down like that, and then just follow the triangular shape, so just how we did it, and just continue to do that, and then your triangle will sort of like form. And there you have it. Just pop that like that. Just get this corner in. Sometimes it's a bit tricky to get this in like that. Just push down, and there we are. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our paste that we made, and we're going to just apply that quite generously all the way around to seal the samosa. So make sure you get that in really nice, and then push down like that. Make sure you're always pushing down because you want it to seal. And because you're working with 2 layers here, you want to seal this down, otherwise when you fry it will just come sort of like undone. Just do that, and then you want to, before you seal this end, which we've got here, which is the end we applied the paste to, you want to seal this end here. So go straight in and apply the paste and just push down like that, and then just take that across, and again you're going to have an extra layer because you'll be working with 2 sheets. Just apply a little bit more paste there and just seal that, and that will give you your perfect little samosa. So that is how you make a Filo Pastry Samosa, and it is advisable to have a tissue to hand, which I don't. Oh, actually I do, it's here. So you can just sort of like clean off and wipe off any sort of like paste that is on your fingers and on the board. And I will show you one more. So again, take your pastry, and any that sort of like are slightly you know, opened up like that, normally they do come off, you know, together in 2s, but you'll find that some of them will just like come off like that, where they're half sort of like apart, and I always use them to fill the samosa side in. So don't put them on that side where you're ending the samosa. You want it to where it starts, so just go in like that, push down, again get the corner really nice and tight, lift it up, create the pocket, and then go in with a couple of peas and then fill with a nice decent amount of filling, and then push down and just follow the shape. Again, just 1 fold, 2 folds, and you should have the perfect samosa. Sometimes when it gets to here it gets a bit fiddly. If you find that you want to put it down on the board to sort of like fold it over, do that. Whatever is easy for you guys, and just do that. And then take your paste and just apply that really nicely all over. And it's quite quicker to do it with your finger than to be messing around with a brush, because I've done this and it's easier to just do it this way. Push down, fold over, make it overlap, just push in any of the corners, make sure they're really nicely sealed like that, and there you have it. There is your second samosa, and I'm going to continue to make all of mine, and I will show you how they look once they're done. Right guys, I filled all of my samosas out, and the mixture gave me 28 samosas, so now I'm going to fry them. Right guys, my oil for frying is nice and hot, and we're going to fry the samosas until they're nice and crispy and golden brown in colour. So when they're golden brown in colour, just take them out and drain them on some kitchen paper. Okay guys, my Filo Pastry Lamb Samosas are ready, so let me plate them up and tell you guys exactly how they are. Right guys, I have plated my samosas up, and I'm going to try them and tell you exactly how they are. I can't wait, because this is one of my favourite things ever. So here goes. I've got some chutney here which I made. Dip it in, and here goes. Oh my god. That is absolutely gorgeous. Perfectly spiced meat there. Pop that down. That is seriously so nice. Perfect to serve up with a really nice hot cup of chai. Guys, if you've enjoyed watching the video, do show your appreciation and give it a thumbs up. Don't also forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already, and hit that bell notification to never ever miss a video. I'll be back again with another one very soon. Till then, take care and happy eating.